and conducted the following interview.
On the sidelines of the ACI in Egypt in 2024, I'm honored to be having with me here on Nile TV International is Mr. Emanuel Chaves, the president of ACI Africa. Thank you very much for being with us today on Nile TV International. And I would like to ask you more about the purpose of choosing Egypt and Cairo in specific to be hosting the 71st edition of the ACI Africa.
Oh, thank you very much. Really, it's a very good question. Very good question on the sense that Egypt, being now the number one in terms of traffic of passengers in Africa, couldn't be a better place than this to have this meeting for all us Africans and people from other parts of the world who came to join us here to witness the level of development that is happening in Africa. Egypt is a good example. Okay, and it's very easy to teach people by showing examples of success. And Egypt, it's really a success in air transport. So there wouldn't be a better place than Egypt to be here and to bring people also to come to their origin. The east of Africa is all concentrated in Cairo, in Egypt. So everyone who comes to Egypt, he realizes himself, if he's from Africa, he realized himself where our culture, our civilization came from. And it came from Egypt. So this is the really right place for us to meet. That's why also it is successful. The number of participants are very good number. So it is really a result of good choice and also availability of the good government of Egypt, who put in place all facilities for us to have this very amazing conference.
During the first part of the conference, you mentioned a very important point during your speech, in specific that we have a number of different ministers participating and attending the 71st edition of the ACI Africa. And you've mentioned that we need in Africa in general more collaboration as the Egyptians are doing in terms of administration and political leadership. How do you think this could be propagated towards the African neighbors and countries?
Yeah, the first propagation is almost the example which we had today. Okay, that is the first propagation because, as I said before, learning by example. But still, I want to emphasize that when I say collaboration is very important, is that we have the success normally happens when we well manage the value chain. Okay, so. Tourism and air transport, culture, immigration, they are part of the only one value chain. And they are fragmented into different ministries. If there is no collaboration between the ministries, there will dysfunctioning, okay, between within the value chain, and the result will be less than when there is collaboration between the various ministries who are part of the fragment of the value chain. This is one of the studies I go profound. It's my area of studies, is how to make sure that the value chain which integrates tourism, aviation, and other players is well managed by better collaboration and by a process where the decision making is done out of the collaboration and there is no fragmented decision making process which will create dysfunction of the value chain. So this is something we had witnessed here, that all parts of the value chain of tourism and aviation were present. Okay, in many countries discuss about the visa issue. And we had the immigration minister there, okay, to understand why it's important to have the facilitation of visas for people to access the country as a tool to develop both tourism and aviation. Okay, and many countries are still struggling with the visa problems. Okay, the culture itself, culture is a very important product for tourism and as well as for the aviation. So the minister was there. Okay, so just to show some, it's really very important to have tourism, aviation, culture, migration, and even customer services toward in same room and coordinating to make sure that the value chain is optimized, is efficient.
In terms of connectivity and in terms of the economic goals of the 71st edition of the ACI, what are the main targets in those two sectors for the African continent in general and for the bilateral ties between Egypt and the African countries?
Now, first of all, based on our own no, our own slogan for this, okay, the topic of this conference. So we want to show that the airport is the lever of the social economic development. But in another way around, it's also important to make sure, and it's one of the goals of this, to make sure that we unlock the aviation as a whole in the African continent. We are making our voice to be listened and showing our full collaboration commitment with the SATAM in Africa. There was already a commitment from the governments. And we, the industry, we have to make our voice listen to make sure that the SATAM itself will be the very important project to empower aviation and make the aviation become a very important tool for movement of people and goods in Africa. So we are here with the airlines, we are here with other players of the aviation industry, as well as the tourism, so that after this meeting, the discussions on the panels brings about the clear idea for everyone what they should do in their own country to allow better connectivity in African continent. And we listen a very, very good vision of the government of Egypt by saying the Egypt Air will now focus on increasing the destination in Africa. Okay, that is very important. This continent needs at least 3 to 4 big airlines, like, to make sure that the connectivity is the good, affordable, and more people will enjoy to fly. This venture of flying should be a right for every African to enjoy.
Yes, Mr. Emanuel Chaves, the president of ACI Africa, thank you very much for being with us today on Nile TV International.
Thank you very much.